7 months ago, I posted this. I'm going to teach you how to make $10,000 a month using just a 3D printer. As soon as I figure out how to do that, I'll tell you. And yeah, it was clickbaity, but I meant what I said. I was set out on a goal to make $10,000 in 1 month by 3D printing. And I'm happy to say I'm a third of the way there. I made $3,000 this month with my 3D printing business, which is a personal best, and I'm super excited to tell you about it. Let's jump right into it. This is HyBee3D. Buzz, buzz. All right, so plenty of things have happened since the last time we talked, you and I, YouTube viewer. And I want to talk about some of those things that happened that negatively affected my business and positively affected my business and ultimately led me to this point where I am a third of the way there to making $10,000 in 1 month, which I am thrilled about. Well, almost a third of the way there. I guess it would be $3,333.33. But we're going to call it a third. So, one of the big elephants in the room is that there was a video that I had uploaded a few months ago introducing a new team member to the HyBee3D team. He is no longer here. He's out chasing his dream, going to get a wife, and no longer lives in Texas. And so he's moved away and sold his half of the business to me. And that was all the logistics of that kind of set us behind a little bit. I was worried I wasn't going to be able to catch up and keep moving forward immediately after that, but things ended up going smoothly. And so it's just myself running this now, which is kind of a nice thing because all of my thoughts can just kind of intermingle with themselves in my mind. And there's a communication factor that doesn't have to exist now between team members, which, teamwork makes the dream work, but also my team in my mind kind of feels like that scene out of SpongeBob a lot of the time, and it's hard for me to communicate my ideas outward. So that was kind of a little bit of a setback, but we've moved past it. So I suppose that's like less of a lesson learned and more of just an update on the channel and the status of the team, which is now just me and my 4 brain cells running this thing. And my wife, who helps me out a lot. I love her. So one of the things that bringing another team member on led me to do was kind of ramp up and to try and prove the business model. I don't know if necessarily to try and prove the business model, but it got me really hyped to have a hype man and kind of helped quell some of my self-doubts in this business. And so we decided that we were going to go big or go home. And so we signed up for a number of much larger events than we had done previously, like all-day, 3-day events over weekends. And it turned out to be extremely successful. Along with that, we decided to step on people's toes a little bit. Previously, I had talked about not printing dragons and not printing a lot of the really cliche stuff that you find with 3D printing businesses, but I've decided to delve into that a little bit just to test the waters, dip my big toe in and see how it would go. And it's gone very well. The customers who are already loyal to the HyBee3D brand, which I can't even believe that we have loyal customers, are excited to see that I'm offering more of a variety. And one of the vendors that I met at an event taught me an interesting lesson and said that the more variety you have, the more people you will appeal to. And it seemed like really obvious of a thing to say, but I'd never thought about it. I always think about the things that I like, things that I would want to buy. But it's very true, and with the capability to do home manufacturing with 3D printing, we really have the opportunity to create a massive variety of objects to sell. And so whether that is, fidgets and flexi things, or decor, or planters, or dragons, or whatever it may be, there's always opportunity to expand out and create variety and draw a larger number of people in. And so in the month and a half that I did have that second team member, we expanded from 3 to 6 printers, which are sitting right beside me. I'm sure you can probably hear them swishing around. And we have expanded from a 1-table setup to a 3-table setup, which is almost overflowing now. And soon I will be adding a 4th table to my market events. And so having kind of a hype man there to get me to really try to push this business, I mean, it pushed the business and it's been really successful. And so, like I said in the very start of doing these vlog updates, the best way to start is to just start. I mean, of course, you have to do some planning. You know, failing to plan is planning to fail. But the reality is, there's no better way to learn than learning through experience. Now, you can learn through my experience, which I hope you do, and take these lessons that I've learned. But also, you're going to have to learn your own lessons by just getting out there and seeing what the people near you want and what you are able to provide to them. I just adjusted the camera because it was cutting my forehead off. Anyway, there is such thing as paralysis by analysis. You can plan so much and come up with a great plan, but if you just plan and plan and plan and plan, you don't really end up taking any actions. And so there is a balance that you have to find between planning and executing your plans. And I think that before these last 2 months, I was just thinking so much about how I wanted to move forward that I didn't move forward, and that I was staying right at, my previous average of about $500 per event, because I was printing the same amount of stuff, printing the same type of stuff, not wanting to take risks and just, go with what I knew worked. But I had to remember back to the very beginning when I just put myself out there and realized that, hey, this works. And so I'm making myself a goal to continue to do that, to continue to take calculated risks, aka planned action, and actually do the action in order to continue to grow this business. And so the risks that I took, that I encourage you to take with proper planning, is to book bigger events. Find larger foot traffic events, find opportunities online, find opportunities in gift shops, in co-ops, things like that. And as you jump into those things and take that risk, I can almost guarantee that you will find reward in those things. And whether it's monetarily or through a lesson that you've learned or through a connection that you've made with somebody who can ultimately help you get into another event or into another avenue where your 3D printing business can ultimately help you get to where you want your business to be. Another success from these last couple months that I'm really just elated about is the soft launch of the HyBee3D Patreon, and you can see an army of chickens and cactuses and my swing animals and a whole bunch of stuff back here. And that was a thing that I'd thought about and talked about for such a long time, of licensing out my own designs for you, my subscribers, to be able to sell in your stores. But so much self-doubt behind that of the quality of my own designs. And so I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to start. And if it catches on, it catches on. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And the support that the Patreon has had has just been amazing. October 15th is when I'm going to be doing the full launch of the Patreon. That means that it will be $10 a month for access to my entire library of models. And I have the goal to have 20 solid models with sales data behind them, uploaded by that October 15th. By putting your faith in me, I want to reward you with a early bird special. So if you join before October 15th, it's only $5 a month to access my full library. And as long as you stay subscribed to the Patreon, it will be $5 a month forever as a gift from me to you for putting your faith in me early on in this Patreon project, which is kind of a side hustle to the side hustle of this 3D printing business. Okay, so recentering myself. Another lesson that I learned is in executing my displays. Before, I had everything just all out on the flat table, and people, especially little kids, like weren't able to see everything that I had. And so, quite literally, elevating your displays is a great way to show more professionality and just catch people's eye. I have these little laser cut shelves that I made, and some that were given to me by a fellow vendor that made my booths look way better. And I'll get to the third and final lesson that I want to share with you today is when you go to these market events, talk to other vendors, especially those that look like they are well established. They have banners and customers and crowds, and they look like they know what they're doing. Talk to them. Ask them about what events they are participating in and how you can also get involved. My biggest events that I have coming up, like the Sea Fair in Rockport, which is going to get tens of thousands of visitors annually, and Dia de los Muertos here in Corpus Christi, I found out about those opportunities from other vendors who were more well established and are doing their craft or whatever they do full time. And so that's lesson number 3. Talk to the other vendors and ask questions. I can't stress that enough. If you want to find bigger opportunities to jump into and take that risk on, talk to the people who are there. If you don't have a booth set up yet and you want to know where, look up a local vendors group on Facebook. Go to websites that are specifically dedicated to finding vendor events. And I guarantee that you'll find something locally, if not semi-locally, within an hour or 2 drive that you will be able to go and sell and make a profit at. In review, the main 3 lessons that I have learned over the past couple of months since the last time I updated you is, number 1, be willing to take risks and push your business further. If you don't have a hype man like I had, let me be your hype man. It will work for you. You're going to stumble and fall sometimes, but you can do this if you take the risks and take the calculated jump into expanding your horizons, whether that's doing bigger events, selling more stuff, selling more unique items, or selling your own items, which is also really scary. Lesson number 2 is to make sure your displays look really nice. I think that had a huge part to do with the increase of the amount of people that were visiting my booth, is it just looked nicer. And number 3, talk to the other vendors. Ask them about where they're going to be, what events they do, where they've had success and where they haven't had success. And with that, I think that's all. I love you very much. Buzz, buzz.